This space is for us to share you what we've also experienced in the retreat in Mount Shasta this year. And I'd love to introduce you to Mel. Mel, hi.
Hi,
Mel,
thanks for having me.
thank you for being here. So, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, how did you find me, and create that summary of our work together.
Like Cray said, we were going back 2 years. I went through some really traumatic personal life situations that really impacted me. I was seeing a therapist and stopped seeing my therapist because I was feeling more negative than I was positive with those sessions. And one of my really close friends, who's the person that told me about Cray, I think you're ready for her coaching. Because I was literally at like my wit's end. I tried everything. And I just really wanted to continue to work on bettering myself, but also working on myself to better my relationship with my husband. Contacted Cray and literally we hit it off right off the bat. I was a new mom. I want to say, I think at that time, my daughter was 2 months old, 3 months old. Like she was really young when we started working together. We hit the ground running and there were some rough moments and it really allowed me to just go deeper into just everything, how my feelings were and what was holding me back from speaking my truth. Um, Present day, well, fast forward those 2 years. I have made so much progress working with Cray, and there's no words to even describe. I think all the work we have done and all the uncoverings we have done. I was kind of back and forth at the retreat until my friend was like, we need to go. And I was like, you know what? Yes, like I'm totally down. The like resistance with that was because this was the first time I was leaving my daughter in 2 years. Not saying I don't trust my husband taking care of her, but Mama Bear has like been there the whole time. But I was like, you know what? This is a really good opportunity for me. And it was lining up to what I was going through in my personal life and in my work life. I was going through a whole bunch of work drama that was actually consuming a lot of my personal life. So this retreat ended up coming at the perfect time just to kind of ground myself even more, but also just deeper discover like my wants and my needs. So I took the plunge and we drove up to Shasta and we did the retreat. And I honestly, I'm speechless still to this day with the outcome of the retreat. I learned so much about myself, but I was also able to connect to people who were going through similar situations that I have gone through with my personal life or my work stuff going on. I felt just at home.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I
Yeah.
know we have like a whole pack of journey to even share your
Mhm.
journey and all of your transformation. Focus on the retreat because that's the most recent breakthrough that you've
Mhm.
had. And at the same time, you clearly said that you were also in a transition and understanding what work life is for you.
Yeah.
So to bring that to the retreat, what made you really see this as an opportunity to rediscover or remember parts of you? What made it such a big difference other than retreat if you would have chosen something
I
else?
think the biggest thing that drew me to it was going to get me out of my comfort zone. That's a really big thing. I tend to go towards things that I'm comfortable with, but
Yeah.
I do think in order to grow and to learn more about yourself, you have to challenge yourself to come out of your comfort zone. So this was something that there's so many different layers in terms of challenging me to get out of my comfort zone that I was all in. I'm like, let's do this. I wanted to learn more about myself, which through the whole weekend, I think I hit the ground running with that.
Now, bringing into the results, if you could share us the three benefits or the results that you've experienced from signing up from this retreat, we call it energy in motion, grounding yourself with the nature. What were those? And if you could give more or less, either way, whatever you feel called to share.
Yeah. I went into this retreat open-minded. I think that was the biggest thing. I wanted to take all I could.
Mhm.
And my biggest one, I remember like leading up to it, was like, I want to be grounded. I want to do this. I did work on being grounded, but I think what I also took away from the retreat was knowing myself in a different way. I
Mm,
think that allowed me just to connect even more with that spiritual side where it's
yeah.
honestly, it's kind of like opened up a different like gate for me in terms of just how in tuned I am with my needs and just, my feelings where, you know, I will sit there and I'll start thinking about everything with like work and I'll look at the time and it's 222, 333, 444. So it's like I'm very in tune with that. It also like allowed me to just have a deeper connection with some relatives that passed away. Where
Mm,
my higher self, that was what I needed. I needed that deeper connection with them where when I came back from the retreat, I would see butterflies. And that was a really great reminder for me, like I'm on the right path. And I think that also really helped during that time at the retreat to really focus on that spiritual side. I've always been spiritual growing up, but I feel like life happens and sometimes you do tend to shift away from that to focus more on like, why is this happening to me? So I think that really like reminded me they're there to help you, they're here to guide you. And just looking at Shasta and going on just a hike made me just kind of take a deep breath and to just release. And when I say release, it allowed me just to release some stress that I was carrying that I didn't know I was carrying until we started going through some practices and exercises. And I really felt that when we did our hike, where I would just sit there, I'm like, I'm in my element, take it all in and just breathe just the clean air. Carried on when I got home too, where I was seeing just my daily life in a whole different
sounded
perspective.
like you were even more tapped in spiritually and mentally. You were present and emotionally, you were able to hold space and tap out even more to increase your capacity to connect in the now with the nature that made you feel appreciative of your breathing, with your connection, with your spirit guides. Ah, that's beautiful. Speaking of stress, what was it like before you started or signed up the retreat and then after?
The stress, it's before the retreat. I had so much work stress, but then, right, I had the personal stress of being just a mom and a wife. I noticed my stress was kind of like bleeding between work and personal life, where I actually was having a really hard time focusing on myself. That's something that I've been working on a lot is just give myself like an hour, but I tend to use going to the gym as my stress relief, which is great, but that's something after the retreat I have definitely learned that love the gym and it makes me happy, but I'm not stressed when I go to the gym now. Actually just kind of re-streaming my stress into journaling. And I think that's have really helped me just kind of open up even more. I've always been the type to like write down my thoughts. I feel like I can flow all my thoughts on paper. Um, Before the retreat, I was very hit or miss, honestly, with journaling, very hit or miss with it. I didn't really make it, I don't want to say I didn't make it a priority, but I'm like, oh, if I have time, I have time. After the retreat, I'm like, I need to set this time for myself because I need to let my feelings just flow out on paper instead of using the gym as my de-stressor. I wanted to look at the gym as like something that made me happy and that I can do with my husband and just like do for myself. So I've really turned into journaling. And that's something that I've noticed has really helped just eliminate the stress even more. But also, it's honestly really nice to go back and see, what was going on last week. And then I can sit there and reflect about, how far have I come? What did I learn? So I think that's also kind of helped as well.
Amazing, amazing. I think the word that's coming up for me with that share is alchemy. You're
Mhm.
able to really energetically move, transcend your consciousness on a different alchemized way. Curious is what surprised you most that or made you really feel connected with mind, body, and spirit after joining?
I felt so supported. Like I'm very social, but when I like look at like all my friends, as I get older, my friend group gets smaller and smaller because I realize I really want those authentic, true people in my life. So I wasn't sure what to take. I'm also very shy when I first meet people. So I just feel like welcomed and I just feel like I've made new friends and I just want to take them. Reflecting back, I'm like, I don't even think I was even shy. Like I was like, I jumped right in because I just felt so at home and so comfortable with everyone around me.
You feel safe. You feel
Hmm.
really, you belong. I love that. Now, last question. If you were ever to recommend this retreat, what would you tell them? Say if it's a friend or whoever, what would you tell them?
Do it. Hands down, put your name in, do it. You would do yourself a disservice going in trying to make up what you think the weekend's going to look like. I just went all in and I just went with an open mind in terms of I'm ready to learn and to accept and to receive whatever comes my way. I had no expectations. I just was like, you know what? I'm ready. Like I'm doing this for me. And I think that would be something I would tell someone too is what is bringing you to wanting to do this? I think that is something that when I reflect back, my what and my why was because I want to learn deeper about myself and unlock some areas that I was really working hard to unlock. And then my what was why not? Right? It's why not do this for myself? So I think those would be the words I would tell someone if they were really looking into, wanting to join or put their name in.
You could summarize all of that into one word or two,
Hmm.
for someone who is still probably a little bit of like, who knows, have skepticism, but what energy and motion retreat is all about, or workshops, perhaps. What would you tell them?
I think when I think of the retreat, the first word that comes to mind is authentic. It was so authentic. And then the second word was just welcoming. I guess you could say third word is freedom.
Mm,
Yeah.
wow. Powerful words. Thank you so much,
Yes,
Mel.
of course.